guys, welcome back. Today is day 35 in the book, What If God Wrote Your Bucket List by J. Payleitner. The title of today's chapter is Keep the Opposite of a To-Do List.
So if you haven't been with us for one of our What If Wednesdays, we just read one chapter, which is just about a page or two, and then we talk about it at the end. So the explanation of this book is like the author's idea of what God would put on your bucket list if he was writing it for you. So we are going to jump in and read, and then we'll talk about it. Do you keep a list of things to do on your desk, in your smartphone, or posted on your fridge? This is different from a bucket list. The things on your to-do list are very likely to be burdens, not blessings. Running across that list is an almost guaranteed downer. Let's say you're having a nice, productive day, or you're cruising through an extended, fulfilling season of life during which you've discovered some simple joys. Blue jeans that fit. That happened not long ago. They were perfect. Credit cards mostly paid off, a cell phone plan that fits your budget and your needs, a few good friends you can hang out with once in a while, but not too often. But then you notice that brutally long to-do list, and it smacks you back into reality. On the list are 6 or 8 things that need to be done sooner rather than later. Some have fast approaching deadlines. Even worse, some have no specific deadlines. But if you continue to ignore them, some problems are going to get worse and worse. Whether a to-do list exists physically or just rolls around in the back of your brain, it has a slight air of failure attached to it. The list includes broken things that need fixing, the things that require time, energy, and resources you don't have, tasks that by definition you have been incapable of completing. The only pleasant thing about any to-do list is the moment when you can pick up a pencil and actually cross something off. Except that's usually about the time 3 more projects rise to the surface and are added to the list. So let's do the opposite. With pen and paper, make a list of things you have overcome in your life. Not things you have achieved, but minor and major challenges you have faced and defeated. Start by listing personal shortcomings or weaknesses that may have vexed you for a while but no longer stand in your way. Crummy stuff that is no longer crummy. Frustrating stuff that is no longer frustrating. This list is for your eyes only, so you can be totally honest. To get started, I'll list just a few of my own shortcomings. I'm not too embarrassed to reveal. I'm short. I have bad knees. I grew up with an older brother who was smarter, more worldly, and physically stronger than me. I've never learned to diagram a sentence. I grew up with a speech impediment. I never set foot on an airplane until after I was married. I was afraid of hardball pitching. I occasionally choke under pressure. You get the idea. I wasn't handicapped by a long list of severe limitations, but there were some things, albeit minor, that I had to face with honesty and overcome with specific action. Some items on the list went away naturally over time. For instance, a man's vertically challenged stature isn't quite as important once you get out of high school. And my world expanded. I began to realize that height has nothing to do with intelligence or determination, and maybe short people have to work a little harder to get noticed, which means we learn to assert ourselves at a younger age. And that's not a bad thing.
We can relate.
Yeah. 5 foot. What are you, 5'2"?
5'4".
What? You don't. Is that even
5'4".
considered short?
It's short. If you have to stand on a shelf to reach something, it's short.
Actually, you guys probably haven't noticed because in our videos, whenever I sit up, I don't know if it's because my torso is longer than Mariah's or just the way that she normally sits. Whenever we watch our videos back, I always am taller than her. But in real life, I don't know if she's just more leggy than me or what, but she's actually 4 inches taller than me. That is neither here nor there. Let's get back to the book.
Time also helped me appreciate my intimidating older brother. In my 20s, I even learned to applaud Mark's accomplishments. Instead of living in his shadow, I did my thing and he did his. I found myself actually feeling a sense of pride in having him as a brother. For years, I wrapped my bad knees with ace bandages as a way to focus and prepare mentally for a wrestling match. Later, I simply accepted the fact that everyone has some physical limits and bad knees were mine. I was never destined to be a lifelong competitive athlete anyways. To make up for my poor grammar training through my formative years, I taught myself to write in shorter, snappier sentences. That is, except for this one, which goes on and on and on and on, serving to prove my point. Besides, my editors and readers like my use of short sentences. Don't you? Chapter 22 documents how I overcame my speech difficulty. Worth mentioning again is how that unexpected gift of instantly improved pronunciation gave me the confidence to pursue opportunities on stage and radio and at podiums. My bride and I took our first plane ride together on our honeymoon, which instantly turned that negative into a positive. Being afraid of getting beaned by a baseball and sometimes getting the jitters when the game is on the line gave me empathy as a father and coach. Recalling my own shortcomings became motivation to do the necessary research and be intentional about guiding and encouraging my kids and others so they steer clear of the same frustrations. For example, I regularly told my kids, "Watching you is amazing how you get better in clutch situations. I used to choke. But when the game is on the line, you're the right person for the job." I'm taking no credit for my kids' achievements, but there's a special pride that comes when your children do stuff you couldn't. Of course, I have many more shortcomings, and the items on my to-do list will never be completely crossed off. But I would suggest on God's bucket list is this idea. Before you get overwhelmed by things you have to do, pause and look back at how far you've come.
And then he just has checking the list on the bottom, and it says, how far you've come. Yes, we need to press on. We should not rest on our accomplishments, and sometimes we need to intentionally let go of the past, but we should always remember who we are as brothers and sisters of Christ. It is not a contradiction when Paul reminds us in Ephesians 5:8 that we should never forget how far we've come. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of the light. And then a little check mark, it says, live in the light of hope. This kind of just reminds me of, like he said, always reminding yourself of what you have came through. And that's important to remember because it's easy to get stuck in your own head and, little by little, comment by comment, you lose your self-worth, even if it's just comments that you're saying to yourself. And so it's important to remember all the things that you have overcome in your life so that you have enough confidence in yourself to let God use you.
I don't think he's really trying to say be a procrastinator or anything like that, but he is trying to say that you need to remind yourself that you're capable of doing those things and don't give up on yourself just because you're not getting to what you're wanting to be at.
Yeah, because if you've succeeded at things in your past, then you definitely have the ability to succeed in the future. So that's it for this one. We hope you guys enjoyed going through chapter number 35 with us. Next week is 36, and it is titled Run with Scissors. So
don't run with scissors, kids.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
That's not the best advice. But we'll see what he has to say about that next week. And if you don't want to wait to see us until next Wednesday, we also post videos on Monday and Fridays. So before next Wednesday's video comes up, there will be 2 more videos posted from us. One will be a fun video, and the one on Monday will be a Bible study. So we hope you guys join us for those.
We hope you have a good day and a great week, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.